Hello everyone, I'm back with another video from Satisfactory. If any of you have watched my first video I made from Satisfactory, you'll have seen that I had started a series where I wanted to make multiple episodes, and it would be from the desert area like you see here. And yeah, I basically made episode 1. I had recorded for episode 2, but then I realized that I didn't think it was good enough. Also because the volumes on my microphone wasn't really up to par and everything. And then it just my big problem, I think, was that I did a lot of editing on video 1, and that's okay, that's fine. And then but I had to do the same for video 2, and I wasn't really super motivated, to be totally honest. And then the whole idea that, okay, I'm gonna make an episode 3 and 4 and whatnot, and I'm also gonna have to record those. And I was just like, yeah, but I want to play this game save tomorrow as well, but I don't want to record tomorrow. You know, I was kind of like boxing myself in a bit, like not giving myself the freedom to play the way I really wanted to, which is like, get some satisfactory hours of gaming in whenever I can. So, yeah. But anyways, I've come to new decision to make another video now, but it will not be a part of that series I started. That series is officially ended. I'm not gonna even edit the footage I have for the second episode. I didn't think it was good enough. Another thing that made me decide otherwise was that in episode 1 and episode 2 also, what was gonna be episode 2, I had started, pretty well in the desert. You all saw me doing this and that, and then I suddenly came to think, wow, there's a lot of things I've done that I could have done so much better. Like more optimization of how the whole base would look like and whatnot. And that actually got me into starting another new save. So that save game that I did for my series that I wanted to make, I've just stopped there. Basically, after I recorded for episode 2, I just stopped and didn't play much more on it. Instead, I made this save, and well, you can tell I'm on a really tall structure. We'll get to that. But you can also see the top of this thing looks awfully similar to these other structures. And well, these are factories. Like, you can see this one, there's a text here, copper sheets. So this is a factory producing copper sheets. This one here, steel beam and steel pipe. And you got a small one there, that's concrete. These other ones are a bit hard to read, so I think this here is modular frames. I've got a car down here, so we're gonna ride around, just have a little look. This is how I wanted to do my optimization. It's not really like super optimized, I guess, but the idea was, okay, instead of, because I started to make, you see this is my space elevator, so over there is my main base, it's over there. And then I started to, around that area, just make a whole lot of structures for, constructing all of the iron parts, and then what was going to be copper parts, concrete. And I had built up a rather large area that, spanned a good amount of width, and was covering several resource nodes, and I was just looking at it and I was like, man, that looks so ugly. And my first times when I played Satisfactory, on my first like 2 saves that I've done, I've just, created big bases that are kind of messy. There's no real good structure to them and whatnot. And to me, that's kind of not what I want to do in this save. I want like a little more organization of stuff and have it look nice. And that's exactly what you get here. So if you're looking for copper sheets, alright? Yeah, you'll come here, you'll find copper sheets. I was also thinking, I haven't got that far yet in the game, because I don't really have that big of a power production yet to do it. But I want to set up like transports, so you can, for example, transport items from this copper sheets factory and over to my main base. And then in my main base there will be a storage, which will just I will store up those items, and once that is full, it will be backed up all the way back to here. It backs up in the factory's storage system, and then production stops until I take some copper sheets out of there. This starts up again. And in the beginning I was kind of thinking, well, I could do it like easy early game with maybe tractors and trucks. No, trucks are actually later on, but you can use tractors early on. But then I was like, no, I don't really wanna, because hey, the desert landscape. Well, I'm riding this terrain vehicle. I don't remember the name of it. Explorer. Yeah, Explorer. And that one's kind of speedy and whatnot, but it just jumps over these edges. And I'm like, if I'm putting up a tractor to go over these sand dunes, my god, if that thing starts to jump and whatnot, it's gonna tilt around, it's gonna lose its track that it's trying to follow. It's gonna be a mess. So I'm kind of thinking get to the trains, basically train stations, and those are really nice too, because then items will back up into the trains, into the freight cars on the train. So you won't have like with a truck station, you will also have it backing up, I guess, but then you will have to have so many of those truck stations. But with the trains, you just have one big train station with just several freight platforms. So I think that would be a nice idea. And already I can tell that I've been talking way too much in the beginning here. I wasn't supposed to, but anyways, guys, those are my plans for this whole thing. Look down here. Isn't this fancy, huh? I tried, like you see here, I tried to bring out a bit of design to what I'm doing. So hence that's why the factories look like they do. They all kind of have the same layout, but I've tried to like make a little bit of design on them. This factory that I'm standing at right now, it produces encased industrial beams, or to be more precise, I have the alternative recipe, which is called encased industrial pipe. So that's what I'm producing here. In addition, I'm also producing steel pipes, and you'll see those are actually produced over at this factory. But there's in this factory there's gonna be like the storage where I can go and pick some for my inventory that I need to bring whenever I build something of a new base or whatever. So those are for that. The steel pipes that I create here, they will go into production of things like rotors and stators, and no, yeah, rotors and stators because they make motors. I have an alternative recipe for rotors called steel rotor, so that will use steel pipes and wire, and stators are also made from steel pipes and wire, and rotors and stators make motors. Okay, I know that was a lot to swallow, but hey, it means I make my motors from just steel pipes and wires all together, and that's a really neat optimization. So that's the keyword here, optimization. And up here is where I make the concrete. So what I've done is I have several floors in each factory, and each floor produce one, maybe two, or three, or whatever item components that go into combined with other items, or go into other machinery and gets turned into other item components to produce whatever is needed. So in here we are producing concrete. Now what you'll see down here is quite interesting. The clock speed on this one, it's only 63.47%, but this is because this this constructor here that produces concrete is doing what I would call a one-to-one production. So you can see this line that goes out here. It goes into this conveyor lift, and if we jump down, boom, you can see here, that's concrete coming out here. So the concrete goes directly into this machine, and you can see this one requires the concrete and 9.52 per minute, and that's what I'm producing them at up there. So basically, we'll get a better view here. For each of these assemblers, I then have one constructor producing concrete at the required speed that's needed here. But then you'll also see that, hey, this one is also clocked down at 47.62%. And why have I done that? Well, that's partly because, as you can see, I've set up multiple of them, so together they actually produce a lot. But it's also because, look here, the energy consumption is much lower. So at 100%, this assembler will require, I think, 12 megawatt, but just downclocking it to like about 50%, you require much less energy. Like it doesn't go like 50% downclock, you use 50% less energy. No, here you actually use less than that even. And if I go even lower down on this one, like say down to 20%, like this will only be like 1.6 megawatt or something like that. It's super low. So yeah, that's why, I was starting out and I was like producing all these items, and the way I do it, I always like to set up a good amount of storages so that you kind of get that mass production. It doesn't have to produce very fast necessarily, but at least you produce a lot of items. And I was like, if I got a lot of items, then why can't I make a lot of these? This assembler, for example, it's made from reinforced iron plates, rotors, and cables, and so those are pretty basic ingredients, you can say, that are easy to mass produce for me. So yeah, I can much rather set up a few extra of these assemblers and have them downclocked, because that'll reduce my energy consumption. Now I will say though, this factory here, these were actually downclocked all the way to like 20 something percent, but I've since doubled it because I gained access to the MK2 miners. The MK2 miners are made with, amongst other things, encased industrial beams. So once I had started producing enough of that, I just upgraded my miners to MK2, and I was able to double the output of all my machinery, basically. So we'll go down and have a look at the number for how much energy this factory uses, but note that that number was much lower before. It's now increased because I didn't entirely put up double the amount of assemblers, because the factory was already made and I didn't want to extend the size of it. So that's why it ended up like this. I just doubled up some of them, but as you can see, they're still downclocked quite a lot. And yeah, so let's just have a look here on the steel pipes. Those come from this level. They're produced here into an item elevator that goes up, a conveyor lift. And here you can see this is the iron ingots coming in, and as you can see here, it takes iron ingot, I mean steel ingots, sorry. Yeah, so it takes the steel ingots at 20 per minute, and then it outputs at this rate here. So this one's clocked to 2/3, as you can see. That was down to 1/3 before I doubled my production. And then these get their items from the foundries down here. And look at this. I used another alternative recipe here, compacted coal with iron ore for the compacted steel ingot. This is the most efficient recipe with regards to coal, at least. I think it's also the most efficient one with regards to iron ore, by a little bit. There's also, for those of you who know, there is also the alternative recipe called solid steel ingot, where you do iron ingots and coal. And the thing about that recipe is that when you use iron ingots up here, that means the process of turning iron ore into ingots, that's a process that can be purified or optimized, I guess, in the refinery, where you can use the pure iron ingot recipe, and then you'll get a lot more iron ingots for your iron ore. So in the end, that with the refinery and the pure iron ingots, you'll probably reduce your iron need a little bit more with that recipe, if I'm not mistaken. But with this recipe, it's already pretty good reduced amount. As you can see here, 6 iron ore goes into 10 steel ingots, and compacted coal, which is basically 1 coal, 1 sulfur to 1 compacted coal. So it's only like 3 coal to 10 steel ingots, so the coal is reduced a lot here. And you can say it's at the expense of sulfur, but I have a nearby sulfur sulfur resource node, a pure one, which I can use for that, so I don't worry about that really. This thing is also downclocked, so that's you'll notice that the only buildings that I have overclocked to more than 100%, those are some of my miners. A few of my miners I had to overclock to a little bit more than 100%. Also, the one assembler that I've been using for producing the project parts. So I've set it up so that I only used one assembler to produce the project parts, and I chose to overclock that one to 250% just because I couldn't be bothered to do a big setup of machinery and a whole bunch of assemblers that are down clocked and whatnot. That wasn't my thing, so yeah. Anyways, so these are the foundries that get why can I not, there we go, they get the iron ore and they get the compacted coal. So the iron ore comes from this line, and the compacted coal comes from down here. And if you look over there, yep, that's the iron ore. That's the splitter right over there. So the iron ore comes from the outside in there. It splits half and half, so 50% to each side. And now you got this thing coming from here. So this is my compacted coal, which is being produced with sulfur and the coal. Those come in here as the resources. Up here's coal, down here's sulfur. As you can see, they come in through these conveyor walls. And I like the fact that these are just like split to each their side, because that makes it more efficient in a way. Because then, you know, instead of having 20, in this case we have 10 assemblers on each side. So instead of having 20 assemblers, then, you know, the sulfur, for example, comes in here and it splits 50% over here. Yes, I'm just using regular conveyor splitters. I have unlocked the smart splitters, but I'm not using them for this, partly because they require AI limiters, and that would be a lot of AI limiters, and I haven't completed the production line for AI limiters yet. But I have it in my plans to do it very soon, so then that wouldn't be an issue anymore. But then also the smart splitters, you have to go in and configure every one of them, you know, to get sulfur in here. You can send the overflow here, but then you have to configure all of them, and then I can never figure out, you know, which is right side, which is left side, which is center, and then I do it correct on this one, and then the next one I mess it up, so it's the other side that gets the overflow one. No, 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 thank you. I've had enough of that. So with the splitters like this, it's much easier, it's much simpler when you can just 50-50 it in the beginning here. Yeah, and then if we jump down, this is my ground floor. So here's the miner that extracts my coal, and as you can see, this one just sends it right up here. Here we got a storage system. This is the back side of the storage system. You wouldn't be able to tell really, but if you look here, it's the front side. So we're producing steel pipes, we're producing encased industrial beams here as well, and here's some more steel pipes. And as you can see, the line here, so the steel pipe is produced and it just sends it in conveyor lifts on the outside here, down here, and then these are mergers that just merge them together and send them right into this one. The encased industrial beams, those are sent in conveyor lifts down here, and come one in here, come one in here. So notice that, you know, I have you know, the steel pipes here, and they continue on in this setup here, and then from above too. So they come in at the top here, then they follow through all of these. At the end, they go around and back down here, and so it is for each of these. But notice then I have one on each, you know, one for each side of the building. So as you can see, the resources, when they come in like this, and I split 50% over there, 50% over there. So then this here becomes like a separate line that produces for this storage, and this becomes a separate line that produces for this storage. That's just, I feel like I can organize myself better that way, so that's how I chose to do that. Then also, if we look outside, then you can see here, for example, this is the encased industrial beams. So they're made all the way up there, then goes in a conveyor lift down on the sides here. And if we can actually go this way. Let's go this way. We can scoot around to this side. Let's see if we can get up here so we can get a little bit of a view of this. And then let's hop around here. Okay, so here you can see those that go down here. Those are the ones that got my steel pipes, so the steel pipes come down here. This is the same on the other side, and then you got all of these in between here that were transporting up and down and whatnot. I think that the conveyor lifts, they bring a really cool aspect to the design here. I really love this. I really do. I'm just gonna mention, I think you can get the color gun and then you can recolor all of this if you want to. But you know what, to be honest, I have not done that because in this game, with the optimization, I was also looking to try and not use any resources that are, you know, not that you're not able to have in unlimited amounts. So for example, if I were to use a lot of biomass for the biomass generators, I would have to chop down a lot of trees and vegetation, and I didn't want to do that. I want to try to keep a lot of the vegetation around as much as I can, and then instead, you know, build, for example, a coal power plant. So I currently have a coal power plant over in this direction, and that's basically just coal generators that take some water from the nearby waterfall, and then they also take some, it's actually using compacted coal as well. So I'm constructing the compacted coal from coal and sulfur that I have over in that area, and those resources are then used for the coal generators. They don't make the coal generators, you know, produce more energy, but the fuel will burn much longer. So that means you'll be using effectively less coal per megawatt, or yeah, you substitute some of the coal with sulfur, I guess. But that's an okay price to pay for me. Just to show you this little part here before we go on. This is where I have, down here's my iron node. This is a pure iron node, and over here, behind here, there's another miner that's pure limestone, and then those are just sent up through these. I tried to make a cool design on them, so I guess the iron comes in here, and then the concrete goes all the way up here. As you saw on my top floor, that's where I produced that. And then let's just have a short look here on the side. This is something I'm setting up, are these signs I have outside all of my factories, just telling you which items are being produced in here, at what rate, and how much energy is the building using. So here we produce encased industrial beams at 19 items per minute. Now that's not bad actually. I like that. And then we produce steel pipes as well, 267 per minute. That's also pretty good. That'll go well with my motor production that I'm gonna set up later. And then you see the energy consumption, 295 megawatt. So say basically 300 megawatt then at full production. So that's not that bad. This was a lower number. It was down to 150 something, I guess, maybe, before, when I used the MK1 miners. Now I use the MK2 miners. Of course they use a little more energy, but also I've, like, instead of doubling the machinery, some places have just clocked put the clock speed a little bit higher. Though it's still underclocked, it's gone a little bit up. So, and then lastly, just let me show you the system that I'm using for power in these factories. So if we just jump out here first, the power comes here from my big power grid, as you can see here, I've set up a production where I'm basically producing 1,000 megawatts from my coal generators, and then these have like a big power grid spread out in the desert, and then this comes in here. Up here, this little thing is a double wall outlet. You can unlock these in the awesome shop, and it comes in here. Here it is, and then I have this power switch. So this allows me to basically turn off the power in this factory. So you can't see here, like this is power grid A, power grid B. So A is basically the rest of my base, or the rest of my power grid, and B is just inside here. And then this here is just a normal wall outlet where I send off energy to this one, and you can see that little bit of cable going up. So this one goes straight up and gives power to each of the floors. So yeah, I unlock these because when you're limiting yourself to only this production, only 1,000 megawatt total in production, then you want to have the ability to turn off some of the factories. Not because they're going to be producing at 100% all the time. No, because once they back up into the storage, just like you can see here, once these storages fill up, they won't produce anymore, right? But some of the machines will still be running idle and just using energy. I'm not sure exactly why, but that seems to be the problem. And then I'm basically just, turning those factories off. What that also means, once I switch the power off in them, is that this max consumption line will drop down. So as you can see now, the max consumption is high, and the actual consumption is lower, which means there's a gap here of a lot of idle machinery. So I could definitely go around in some of my factories, and if they don't produce anything at the moment, then I can just comfortably turn them off. So that allows me to build new factories, set up more things, and without having the power grid just shut down because too much power is used. There's also this thing that let's say I just set up this machine, and then before I start using it, I downclock it, so it will be using less megawatt, but you won't see the change here yet until you connect it to the power grid. Then it will start producing at that lower speed, and then you will see the power drop down. But therefore, for a split second, it will actually draw the full 12 megawatt from the grid until it realizes, hey, I'm supposed to produce at a less speed. And so if you just activate a lot of machines at the same time, the way I do it, I just fly from machine to machine, just dragging these cables along to just power them up. And then a lot of times that would also make my whole power grid just fail and shut down because there was too much machinery turning on at the same time. So that's also when it was good that I could just shut off some of my factories, and I could go on and put up with the cables like I always do and power my machines without having to break down every time. So yeah. Here you also see there's another coal mine here. So this is a normal resource node. Here's another normal one. In there, that's a normal one. So there were 3 normal coal nodes here. That's pretty cool. I don't know if you can see the sign from here. Can you? Oh yeah, it's over there. As if we can get an angle on it. There. Sulfur. So as you can see, that's the sulfur line coming in. Here again, just using a regular conveyor splitter. So you get 50 here, 50 there. Very easy principle. Yeah, so let's have a short look at the different factories that I have. So this is the steel beam, steel pipe factory. This is copper sheets, and just behind that is concrete. Let me grab my vehicle over here. Let's get into the Explorer, and then we can take a short trip around. Now, you'll notice I've only set up in my desert so far, so I haven't set up in any other areas around. I will have to do though once I expand into oil. I've unlocked the oil tier, and I've already unlocked some of the milestones there, but I haven't unlocked coal in itself. So let's just head into this factory, for example, and have a short look at how this looks. So as you can see here, we're producing copper sheets, 60 per minute, 29 megawatt. That's all this uses. But if you notice, so this one's got the, this was in the beginning when I only had the regular storage containers, not the industrial ones. I think these do the jobs still though, because it's much easier with this conveyor lift thingy on these and whatnot, and they're not so tall that you can actually stack maybe 3 of them instead of just, you know, being limited from the height of the industrial container. And you see this is a minor MK1, but it's a pure node, so it's 120 per minute. And that's also a thing I've been trying to do, is to find pure nodes and only use them. And here you can see again, it's a power switch. See, this one is off, and here you can see it. So here it says max consumption 29.1, and this is the max consumption. This is in my power grid for the whole base. Notice though that this number here, down here, doesn't always match with whatever, because what I do is I go around and I look at this number, and I just add these numbers up, and then that gives me the number that I've wrote on the board outside the factory. But that doesn't always match up with what it says here, so I'm not sure why that is, but whatever. So this is really old MK2 belts. And you'll notice there's a little bit of lag around there. I'm not sure why, but you know, kind of fancy structures with lots of walls and you know, conveyor belts, all of these foundations, whatever. And I like to have the glass roof on the top like this, kind of. I think that's pretty cool. So here you can see the concrete factory over there. That's my modular frames. That might be screws that I'm producing over there, whatnot. So yeah, all of the factories have pretty much the same layout. It's a bit of a difference in how you get up and down between the floors. Like you saw in the factory where I'm producing my industrial beams, I used ladders instead because I thought that fitted better in there, you know. But yeah. No. Okay. So the concrete factory is real small and neat. Nothing too fancy here. So this is only using 10.6 megawatts. Concrete at 40 per minute. It's not a lot, but it's something, you know. So yeah, it turned into nighttime actually. That's a bit of a bugger, but whatever, it's fine. We can use our as you can see, we have a little bit of a flashlight on our head. So this here is my modular frames. I'm still gonna do a little bit more work here, like get the foundations to go all the way down to the ground so it doesn't look like it's floating like this, but that's fine. So here I'm producing these modular frames. I do believe this one is currently still producing. Yeah, it is. It is. And yeah, as you can see here, we got pretty much the same layout. This is where I smelt all the iron into ingots. And then up here we produce the different parts. Here's iron plates, here's screws, and here's iron rods. And then you see these two go together up there. That one kind of goes by itself. And if you look up here, you'll see that, okay, so we got these assemblers here. So you got the the plates and the screws goes together to make the reinforced iron plates, and this is where the rods come up, and then they kind of join together here, and then they go up to this floor, and as you can see, they come in here into the assembler with the reinforced iron plates and the iron rods, and then they make modular frames. And as you can see here as well, downclocking. See, this one is at only 25%, so only 1.6 megawatt is used. So that's a pretty efficient way to do it. I don't actually think I got a way to get up on this roof. I think I removed it. I had a ladder or something, but I just removed it because I didn't care. But yeah, so then you kind of see the layout of my factories. Also, as you can notice, I make room for a miner to be at the bottom here. This is also because it gives me enough space under the roof to set up like a decent storage system. Then I can set up 2 industrial containers on top of each other. These are just the regular storage containers, so I have a lot of space there. And then general thing for all of these machines here, like this is a smelter, and for the constructors, the assemblers, and also the foundries, they all fit underneath a roof that's basically 3 walls high. So I run this design where the middle wall segment here on these floors are made out of this type of wall, as you can see up here as well. The middle wall segment is made out of that type of wall. So that was just the decision I made. Some of you might also wonder, haven't you unlocked lights? Well, yes, no, I haven't. But I have found crystal mines, crystal resource nodes, but I haven't made any production of lights. I haven't gotten into that because they basically require the quartz crystals to be built, so yeah, no, it hasn't happened. But it's one of my plans, yeah, to light up all my factories. It would be nice. Here you can see modular frames, 5 per minute total, 44 megawatt used. Now it's a slow production line, but it doesn't matter because these are the stuff that I just put into my inventory whenever I need to build something by hand, and so it's good for that, you know. Here we got iron plates. Now I'm not gonna jump into each one of these factories, but it's the same setup as you can see. Iron plates, this is at 80 per minute, 21.8 megawatts, so yeah. Here we got reinforced iron plates. These are screws over here. And then we'll just head between all of this. We got iron rods over here. Be careful not to crash into those. And then we got the rotors over here. And that's about it for this dune desert area, I think. Yeah, pretty much. And here we got a sign for copper, so this is a normal copper node that I was gonna use, but I'm not sure what I'll use it for just yet. Here's my base. So this is my main base, and if you see, you'll notice this is where I got my hub, and then on the back end of the hub there we got a MAM and an equipment workshop. Then this is my space elevator. Oh, let me get out actually. This is my space elevator over here. Here's my awesome shop where I can shop for different things. And this is my awesome sink, so whenever I need to sink something I just put it in here and it gets turned into coupons in the end. I've used a few of these already, so they're kind of expensive now. And over here is just, you know, storage of some items. Like, this is the way I thought I would do it, was to have these storages here for all the items, and then just have on the back side here have a line of train station, freight platforms or whatever, and then they just input into these. So that'll always keep me a nice storage of items. And then over here, these storages here, what looks like a small monstrosity right there, that's actually the production of project parts that happen in this one. See, this is the only machine I have that's 250% overclocked. But look at the energy consumption, 65 megawatts. From 12 megawatt at 100% to 65 megawatt. So that's a lot. And then I can choose here, sometimes I want to input directly into this one. Now I don't though, because these here, they need to be made with manufacturers. So I'm gonna have to set up a manufacturer for that whenever I get those components for them. And yeah, then I'm also gonna show you around the edge here. Not gonna go over there now, but that's my my factory that will produce wires, quick wires, AI limiters, and cables. And I don't know if you can see it that easy, but there's a conveyor belt coming there. That is the copper ore, which is transported from over there somewhere. Those are 3 copper ore nodes that are slightly overclocked. So they are a little bit more than 100%. They come in this line here into the factory. And then on top of here, we can actually go up so we get a little bit of view from this side as well. Let's try to do that. On top of the mountain here, or it's not the top of the mountain, but it's like on the ridge here. As you can see, the mountain goes all the way up there. But on the ridge here, this is Caterium ore. And then I've on this save, I've also been focusing a lot on alternative recipes. It's like you saw, I use the alternative recipe called industrial encased pipe. For example, I use the compacted coal alternative recipe. And yeah, to no surprise, I'm also using alternative recipes for wire and quick wire. You have the fused wire and the fused quick wire recipes that basically makes you use less Caterium and less copper overall. So I'm using them here. Since we're here, we can have a short look. Like, I'm gonna make more floors here though, but currently at this floor we're producing a lot of wires. And look at this, each of these are downclocked to 25%, but look, 4 copper ingots and 1 Caterium turns into 30 wires. This is already at 22.5 per minute when it's downclocked to 25%. At 100% it's 90 per minute. So this is quite a big setup, but it basically produces me 540 wires from just this floor, 270 per minute on each side. And then if you jump down, we got the exact same setup here. So we got 2 floors without production. And then if you jump down here, this is where I got the storage system. So all of the items, this is a little bit different setup here, but you can see it's backing all the way down here. So it comes in there and then it goes through the top part, and then at the back of this one, as you can see here, it basically comes down in here. So I made sure to use both of the output inputs here, so that these are MK4 belts, but that means you got 2 MK4 belts going into this one from the other one at 540 each. So you transport the items at like what, 1080 per minute actually. And then that goes all the way back to here, which is the front. And here I've also set up this. Now, if you wonder what this is the same as whatever is written on the top of the buildings. It's a mod. Let me see if I can actually, this here, X3 signs. So there was one thing I was really missing in this game, and that was science, basically, because I'm able to like build these big factories and whatnot, and huge bases which produce a ton of items, and then I come back to the game, you know, being away for maybe a couple of months or something. I'm like, wait, where did I produce this? Where did I produce that? I can just go here. Look at this. This even has multiplayer support, so you can, you know, use it in a game where you play with others, so others can see that, okay, you made this industrial storage here, and it's gonna contain items, say wires, for example, at 540 per minute. Cool. Then I know if I hook up to this one, I'll get wires at 540 per minute. So that's pretty cool. I love that. And as you can see, you can make them nice and small. Now this is basically a sign here, one sign there, and one sign there, but I've kind of joined them together so it looks like it's part of the container in a way. These other ones up here, those are basically like huge signs. That's just on the top of it all. So yeah, I love that mod. But yeah, anyways, that was my little bit of production there. That's not done. Currently just producing wires at 540 on each floor, and I'll build 2 more floors for Caterium, for quick wires, each one of them also at 540 per minute. Then I'll have another floor on top of that, which will produce me cables at 270 per minute. So it's basically just another production of wires at 540 that's turned into cables. And then on the top of that, I will have the production of AI limiters at 5 per minute. And yes, I'm able to do all of that on 1 pure Caterium ore node and 3 normal copper nodes with MK2 miners. But I've got the alternative recipes, and if it wasn't for them, I'd never be able to do that. To do that amount of production. I'm gonna show you one last part of my base, and that's right over this way. So you might be wondering, how does my power plant setup look? Because there's a lot of buildings around that requires a lot of power and whatnot, and maybe it's not quite clear how it's done. But as you can see here, I got 2 lines. Now these are just MK1 pipes, but 2 lines of water extractors that transport the water that I need, and that goes, let's go on the upside here, that goes over to this little factory or power plant. And yeah, so if we go down here and just have a little look, this is compacted coal, and it's all transported. Let me get in here into these, the coal generators, and these guys are running, they're actually overclocked a little bit. I'm actually able to do that because then I'll use the water at maximum capacity. I'll also use the compacted coal at its full capacity, and yeah, so this is producing 83.5 megawatt each of them, and the burn time on this compacted fuel is pretty good, so it's 7.95 per minute. Even when it's overclocked, it's pretty decent. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of those running, and that is a total production of about 1,000 megawatt. So I kind of have a fancy idea that I want to stay within the 1,000 megawatt for the rest of the game, if I can do that. But that also means I have to make a lot of power switches so I can turn off parts of my factory, or it won't be possible to do it. So yeah, anyways, over here, this is where I get all of my compacted coal from. So there's basically 1 and 2, there's one in the back there as well. 2 normal coal nodes coming in here. These are all going into the assemblers, making compacted coal. And then they all get the sulfur coming out this way from, there's a sulfur node over here. You can barely see it. It's right away over there. I'm gonna get out of here because these plants, they're gonna open up and then the poison gas comes out. But anyway, so that's a pure sulfur node and then 2 normal coal nodes. So together they make perfectly the compacted coal that I need. And then all of that follows this line that goes through the cave here. So that's pretty much my whole setup. That's how I've done it so far. Now I'm gonna have to do some coal, some oil eventually. And if you have a little look at the map, no, I have to step out of the car then. Wait, no, I'm clicking the wrong button. I'm clicking the wrong button, guys. Okay, so this here is the desert area. It's basically all this area also here, but this is like top of the mountains, the big mountains. So basically around here is where I set up all of my productions. Oh, I marked a copper node, normal copper. Oh. I think this is a pure copper node even, but if I'm not mistaken, it's somewhere around this area here or something. There are some oil, some crude oil. So I'm gonna set up something here, and I'll do it the same way, same principle. Set up, you know, factories over there that produce whatever. I just haven't figured yet how I'm gonna do the refineries. But then, if any of you have seen the new update that will come to Satisfactory, that's pretty cool actually, because they're gonna release update 5 in about a month's time, I hope. And one of the features will be that, you know how a refinery or a coal generator or whatever, it will have like a bounding rectangle around it, and if you try to intersect with that, you'll get the encroaching error on your screen, and you won't be able to put, you know, conveyor belts through there or whatever. Kind of annoying. So they're gonna now update so that you know, 2 machines, they will both have this hard, machines will have like this hard bounds around them, this hard rectangle that's bounding them, and those 2 cannot intersect. But a conveyor belt won't have like these hard bounds, it will only have like soft bounds or whatever, and those can actually now start to like cut through machinery, clip into machinery, whatnot, which also means that we don't have to like, we can have the pipes from the refineries sticking out the top of the roof, and then the roof can actually be a bit lower. But that's so cool. Oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to just a small thing like that. There's lots of other things in this new update. I suggest you go and watch the Satisfactory trailers, kind of, for the new update. They have some over at Coffee, what's they called again? Coffee Stain Studios or whatever. Go to their YouTube channel. You'll find some nice videos there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and that's definitely gonna have my factory designs here become even better. So that's a good thing. And in the meantime, I'll just continue on, see if I can get into oil production and whatnot. That's kind of my next step. But before that, I'm gonna set up a production line of, first of all, complete the factory that's right ahead of me here, and also set up production of motors, because that's needed for the refineries, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. And if you wondered, the the motors, you would maybe think, okay, why don't I take rotors from here, and then I just make production stators and I combine it. No, I'm not gonna do that actually. Over at the first factory we were at, where I'm producing the encased industrial beams and the steel pipes, so the steel pipe production, that's gonna be where I also produce my motors. So right next to that factory, or kind of close to it, there's a pure copper node that will create me wires. So then I can just put up another factory there. It's kind of a local factory where I just take the steel pipes from that existing factory there, and it's gonna be like super simple setup. So I'm kind of hyped to go do that. And I was wondering if maybe I'm gonna do a video on that too, but I'm not sure. Like I said in the beginning, I gotta play Satisfactory the way I want to do it, and not feel like I'm forced to record everything I do. But I'll definitely want to come with some more videos to you, some more updates on what's happening and whatnot. I was thinking it could be cool to maybe make another video whenever the new update 5 is out, and then I'll definitely try that one out and see how that's gonna fit into my base, how that's gonna like change my base and fit in with everything I got around here already. So yeah, but that's gonna be about a month's time from now. We'll have the update into the experimental branch. I'm currently on the early access, as you can see up in the left corner. So let's see how that's gonna work out. But yeah, I think that's it for now though. This is a really long video. I'm sorry for all the talking. You're probably tired of listening to me now, but if you made it this far and you listened all the way, then a huge thanks, because I like if people can be entertained with my videos, if they can enjoy what I've been doing here. That's really great. So yeah, hopefully I'll see you in the future with another video, and hopefully it won't be too far away. So yeah, have a good time, and if you enjoyed the video, I would very much appreciate if you gave me a like, and yeah, see you around. Bye.